And we'll see who gets the whole shot here in our opening qualifying heat from Texas Stadium. Damon Huffman, a point man coming in, but Tortelli goes to the inside, and it's Tortelli getting the inside hole shot with a battle for Huffman out in front as we look at the helmet cam of the two leaders. Greg Albertine is following the two leaders in third place. John Dowd in fourth place. So it is now Huffman, Tortelli, Albertine, Dowd, Kevin Windham, and then Ezra Lusk, number 4.
Well, there's what that whoop section looks like. From that view, it's just unbelievable. You can see Albertine deciding to go wide. This is where guys have been able to get a run at the riders that come out on the inside. It's harder for those guys to hook up. Albertine went wide, used that bank to get some traction.
We are on the bank of Greg Albertine as he came over the finish line jump. Damon Huffman, number 11, our leader. Number 44 of the team Honda, Sebastian Tortelli. That's Emig, number 11.
Well, these are the kind of starts Emig's accustomed to. He hasn't got too many of them. See if he can take advantage of it. He's got a lot of riders back there that have proven to be faster than he is this year, but the starts are also important.
Jeff Emig has really had a tough time getting his reputation back as a whole shot king, David.
There's just so many riders that have upped the ante this year, working on their reaction time. Plus, they've varied the starts so much by putting bumps in there, making them longer, shorter. Jeff's had a tougher time trying to out horsepower those Hondas, too.
Jeff Emig, Sebastian Tortelli, Greg Albertine still in third, but he's getting the big challenge from Kevin Windham. Shuts the door on it. You can't see it, but Greg Albertine right there is in a battle to hold third position. Behind Windham is John Dowd, and then it's Ezra Lusk. Remember, only the top 4 qualify out of this qualifying heat, so it's now Emig, Tortelli, Albertine, and Windham. Lusk and Dowd are out of the picture right now. Lusk passing Dowd, moving into 5th.
This has got to be they've just cleared right there. Oh, Emig has gone down. That's how slick it is. Just lost the front end. I was about to say, these guys are jumping what's got to be the biggest double jump I've ever seen.
And number 8 from Team Suzuki, Greg Albertine is now our leader. Albertine jumping and leaping past Sebastian Tortelli, who has Windham at his hind side, and then Lusk.
Albertine jumping that entire pyramid, both jump in front and behind it.
Here comes Emig, though, trying to fight back in. He got up and is now back into 5th position. Albertine cutting inside, still has the lead, but here comes Tortelli. Tortelli, number 44, to the outside. Windham is right there in 3rd, with Lusk hanging close.
Tortelli is doing an excellent job holding off all this talent. He's got Kevin Windham and Lusk right behind him. But being a European rider, he's good at that throttle control. That's what you got to be careful with, the way you pour the power on coming out of these corners, because it's so slippery.
And he's got a rider behind him that's fairly careful because they're teammates. In fact, 2 of them. Right now, Team Honda's 3 out of 4 here in our first qualifying heat in the top 4 positions. Greg Albertine continues to hold. Can he hold on and take his 2nd heat win? Larocco is all the way back in 12th.
Well, if we could turn that helmet camera around and point it behind him, we'd see a lot of action.
Tortelli strong in the whoops.
Look at Windham, though.
And Windham tries to his outside. Tortelli had a good angle. Here comes Windham. Windham moving into 2nd place behind Greg Albertine.
There you see how close you have to race with these guys to have a chance of taking advantage of a mistake. Windham just running into the back tire of Albertine.
And Windham cuts inside. Here comes Tortelli. And there goes Lusk. The Red Rider invasion. Tortelli in 1st place. Windham in 2nd. Now Albertine has moved past Lusk into 3rd. And right there on the bubble is Jeff Emig.
This is the closest heat race battle I've ever seen, Art. I mean, 1st to 10th right now are just nose to tail.
Anybody could win this thing, and anyone can qualify right now out of the top 10 riders. We'll be right back after this word with, once again, Greg Albertine in 3rd. But right there is Jeff Emig, number 11 on the team Kawasaki. Ezra Lusk right behind Emig. Then Steve Lampson and John Dowd just bang, bang, bang. There's Kevin Windham. Windham gets the edge this trip around.
So it's not just the whoop section that's been proven to be a difference of speed out here. It's the corner after that we've seen the most action. Those guys are having a tough time hooking up. Kevin sits down a little bit more than the rest of the riders. Gets all that power to the ground.
So Wyndham, who looked fantastic in practice today, David Bailey, has now taken the lead in our opening qualifying heat from Texas Stadium. Albertine, strong, holding on to third, holding off Lusk.
Well, Albertine has proven that he can ride with these guys, even a little bit faster at times. He gets great starts. He's just got to be able to do this in the main event.
White flag lap. Lampson's in 5th. Emig in 6th. Dowd in 7th. It's Wyndham out in front, though. Tortelli stuttering a little bit in the whoops. Albertine trying to pull up on the second-place rider as we cut to the checkered flag. In our second qualifying heat, the points leader, Jeremy McGrath. You know, when he looks at a track, he just doesn't look at it, new track. He dissects it piece by piece, searching for the best lines and advantages.
I'm not really out there to try to do stuff that everyone else can try and do. I'm out there trying to test myself and be the best that I can be, and usually it works out well for me. I mean, normally I'm one of the first guys jumping the jumps, or you know, picking the lines that not everyone's using, and so it's fun. It's really fun for me.
Along with McGrath in our second heat, Jeremy McGrath, Mikel Pichon, Larry Ward, Damon Huffman, Tim Ferry, the leading privateer, Robbie Raynard, Ricky Carmichael trying to get back on track, David Bailey.
No, Ricky looked fast in the practice. Everybody did, though. Everybody was running around a minute lap time, and it just looked to me like Ricky was putting out a lot more effort, getting a little swirly here and there. But that's kind of normal for Ricky. It doesn't seem to bother him. He just lets it all hang out, rides at 100% always.
So we'll see how Larry Ward, Damon Huffman can fare here, as well as the points leader, Jeremy McGrath. And we are off and running now for our second qualifying heat. Jeremy McGrath, good position to the inside. But however, it's number 21, Jean-Sébastien Waugh, that takes the whole shot. And also the lead right behind him is Larry Ward. Waugh from Planet Honda. His first whole shot, as Waugh has been having trouble lately qualifying.
McGrath just snuck in to third place around Tim Ferry.
Here comes Ward. Here comes McGrath. Ward to the inside. McGrath to the outside. Ward can't quite get it. McGrath. Look at the acceleration of that Mazda Chaparral Yamaha. He gets by Waugh. And Ward now is back in third.
Look at McGrath. It's just so good. He gets in and out of that corner so fast. Those guys are like, wait a minute. Come back here. Just no wheel spin at all. All traction, putting it to the ground, letting all these guys just dice it for second.
Jeremy McGrath already starting to pull away. As number 5 as Mikel Pichon now moves into second place. Boy, what a shifting of second through 5th places we've had in our 2 qualifying rounds. Pichon in second and Larry Ward in third. Waugh is back in 4th, but right behind him is Ricky Carmichael. And that's the bubble. Number 20, Tim Ferry, on the inside on the no-lean Yamaha. He's trying the inside on Sebastian Waugh, and Carmichael trying the outside, and they both pass him in the same corner. Close quarters.
Carmichael got bumped up there, did a good job to stay on. That's just an incredible battle right now, but it looks to me like Pichon has broken free of this, and he's starting to catch McGrath. That's surprising.
Wouldn't that be interesting? Of course, Pichon likes this kind of track.
He had a great shootout east-west, 125 with Kevin Wyndham a few years ago, and he won that battle, so he can ride the hard pack.
McGrath, Pichon, Ward, Ferry, and Waugh right now in qualifying position with 6 laps to go in our second qualifying heat.
That's an interesting section. Carmichael just coming down off of. They got to do a double, and as soon as they land on the backside, there's whoops coming down off of it.
McGrath, Pichon, Albertine, Tim Ferry, Carmichael.
Well, the whoop section this week is really tricky. There you see Ward getting up in the air. He's jumping that middle section of 4 and then 4 more into the corner. But to get your timing right, to be able to do the 4 and 4 to get yourself out of there clean takes perfect timing.
Back to our leader, Jeremy McGrath. And Mikel Pichon, number 5 of Team Honda. McGrath, so finesseful, but Pichon is really showing the beautiful form and great speed on this slick, hard surface. Ward still in 3rd, Ferry still in 4th, but Carmichael's behind him, trying for that final transfer spot.
You're going to see a lot of body English with these guys coming out of the corner, trying to get some traction, really working the bike.
McGrath only a second ahead of Mikel Pichon, number 5. Look at that great shot. You almost look into his eyes, the concentration, the focus going through that very difficult, stuttered whoop section.
There you see how careful he was to get the power to the ground. That's where Wyndham is so fast, going all the way to the outside, much like the way Ferry did. He was actually sliding all the way out into the powder that got built up like a berm. That way, if his back tire went up against it, he knew it wouldn't keep going and slide out. He had a little something to go again.
There's our field summary here in our second heat with only 4 laps to go. And our leader still continues to be Jeremy McGrath. McGrath has 4 heat wins on the year. If he should hold on to this one, he would tie Lusk for the most heat wins on the season.
Pichon did close the gap. It stayed the same. If anything, Jeremy's opened it back up a couple of bike lengths.
This is extremely encouraging for Mikel Pichon, who's gone from points contender to 42 points down to Jeremy McGrath right now. But he's shown a stick-to-itiveness in the last few races.
Carmichael, this is the battle for 4th. He's got to hang on to this spot and make it to the main.
Carmichael just passing Tim Ferry, moving into a qualifying spot. They still battle on. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Yeah, guys, Chad Watts, his mechanic, showed him the sign 2 laps ago saying, "You're tight." That was back when he was in 5th. Seems like he's loosened up a little bit because he's pulling away and into that 4th spot.
Well, McGrath is certainly not pulled away because Mikel Pichon is right on his back fender as Jeremy McGrath tries to head for his 5th heat win of the '99 season. Can he hold off the challenge of Pichon? We'll be right back to find out. The battle is on here in our qualifying heat. As they turn around, Pichon takes the lead right at the white flag. Mikel Pichon is our new leader.
Whoa, and he just gives a little bit of a brake check there to McGrath. I don't know that he really tried to put him down, but he did try to make it difficult for McGrath to get back underneath him. McGrath had to put his feet down or he'd have gone down.
Mikel Pichon trying to boost himself back up as a point contender. And Ricky Carmichael moves into 3rd with Larry Ward right on his tail. Larry Ward's got his problems behind him. Pichon and McGrath still battling it out as they go by the mechanics area. The fans standing up here at Texas Stadium.
Well, McGrath's got a chance to see if he can repeat what he did on the first lap out of this corner.
The Supercross action from Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas tightens up as the crowd anticipates Jeremy McGrath closing the gap even further. The checkered flag is out. It is waving. Mikel Pichon, his 2nd heat win of 1999. After coming out of the qualifying heats and seeing the semifinal action, we've got guys like Wyndham and Pichon that are looking very strong on this type of track. Could this be the night that some riders pick up points on Jeremy McGrath?
Well, they need to start doing that now. McGrath is starting to pull away with that 18-point lead, and he realizes, as I've pointed out in the heat race, there's a lot of guys that can go just as fast as he can, but he's going to try to beat him with his experience. And I mean, I'm looking at guys like Tortelli, who's riding well. Pichon, who caught and passed McGrath. Carmichael is on pace. We could see a new winner here. We could definitely see somebody other than McGrath.
An amazing statistic, Marty Reed. In that 19 races here in Dallas, we've had 14 different winners. But that Jeremy McGrath uses every ounce of education he's ever earned each time out.
You're absolutely right, Art, and I have to give credit to David Bailey. We were watching second practice from where you guys are seated up in the press box. He noticed team manager Larry Brooks. After the second practice, Jeremy had been working this section of the whoops on the far right-hand side. And right at the end of practice, these little tough boxes all of a sudden moved out about, a foot and a half, 3 feet more, so that no one else in the rest of the practice session could take a look at that line. And if you noticed in the heat race, Jeremy did not run this right side line. Let's see if in this main event, that little education and that little movement of the tough box comes into play for Jeremy McGrath.
As we look at the starting grid, David Bailey, Jeremy McGrath is not one to give anything away, that's for sure. In fact, in practice, he does not like riders to follow him. He'll pull off or take another angle and cut through the course just to not have riders observe what he's trying to figure out during the practice laps.
It is amazing that with all the video cameras and all the headsets, all the people watching, all the spotters, that somehow McGrath and a few of the others are somehow able to still have something up their sleeve for the main event. And I'm anxious to see if Jeremy does use the right side down that whoop section. Most of the riders dial in a section, but Jeremy dials in a section somewhere else, so that if he's behind, he can make a pass.
Well, maybe much to Larry Brooks's credit as well, you know, as he's the crew chief of that particular chaparral team. And I'm sure Larry Brooks, with all of his experience, could match up well with Jeremy McGrath.
Right. Well, Larry knows what to look for out there on the racetrack. The riders aren't allowed to come out here and look at the track all during the night. And the team managers can come out and take a look from time to time. That's a big advantage to have somebody like Larry Brooks, who's been a racer and can relate to Jeremy a lot better than anybody else. Same with Jeff Stanton over at Team Honda.
You know, last week it was brainstorming time for Ricky Carmichael, number 9, all the way back home in the plane. He crashed 3 times in 4 races at Atlanta last week, having to go to the LCQ. It was just like a black cloud was following him all day long.
I'll tell you what, it definitely wasn't my weekend through the qualifiers, you know, riding every lap possible. And then in the main, you know, I'm thinking, wow, I'm going to turn this thing around. You know, I'm on the podium, 2 more laps. I think I got this thing. And before I knew it, I was on my head again. So I don't know what the deal was, but hoping to turn it around this weekend. I'm definitely due, and I'm just so close. And then, you know, something happens, and it's just like, dang. So I don't know, you know, I just need to get my Kawasaki bike up on the podium and definitely do it for myself, too.
Be interesting to see if Ricky can bounce back, David Bailey.
Well, I think what Ricky needs to realize is that it just seems like the days of winning 14 races are over. And there's so much talent now, and he has to accept a podium and be okay with that. And I look at him and I see him, he reminds me of Tiger Woods, where he just doesn't look like he's having fun unless he's winning.
Okay, McGrath with an 18-point lead on LaRocco, a 20-point lead on Lusk. Bushone and Ward also in the top 5 as we get set for the main event. The fans are on their feet here at Texas Stadium as the 32nd board is up. Bushone, Wyndham, McGrath, Tortelli, Carmichael, Albertine with our helmet cam. Let's take a look at Jeremy McGrath as the gate drops, and we are underway from Dallas, Texas. A great start by Ricky Carmichael on the inside, getting across the chalk line for the $1,000 is Kevin Wyndham.
Well, that is tight. Lusk is at the back of the pack.
It's Wyndham holding on to the lead against John Dowd and RC. Next it is Bushone, and then Heath Voss, the privateer, and Tim Ferry, the top privateer on the year. And then Team Suzuki, Larry Ward, and Jeff Albertine.
McGrath is the best of my, what I can tell right now, it looks like he's running 11th. Lusk is right behind him in 12th, and Emick went off the racetrack in the second corner and is dead last.
Greg Albertine dropping back as Wyndham now starts to pull a little bit of the lead on John Dowd.
What an advantage for Wyndham right now. Not only did he ride flawless in his heat race and practice, but to get the whole shot while his toughest competitors are buried in the pack. And to make it even sweeter, he's got John Dowd behind him, who's not feeling 100% right now. So by the time those guys work their way around John, if they can, they should give a pretty good lead to Kevin.
How many times did you feel great in practice, David Bailey, and you just went out and did it? As opposed to those times where, you know, you weren't up to par in the main.
Not enough, Art. Not enough. But there were times. It goes both ways.
Well, Kevin Wyndham with a 2-second lead has looked both great in practice and great at the start of the main event. As we're just about to finish the second lap of this race. 20 laps for the 250 riders. John Dowd a distant second. Mikel Bushone third. Ricky Carmichael fourth. Larry Ward fifth. Tim Ferry is in 6th spot, with Steve Lapson in 7th. Jeremy McGrath is in 8th position, with Jeff Albertine right behind him with the helmet cam on.
Dowd still hanging on to 2nd. There you can see Albertine's look.
There you see Jeremy McGrath, Albertine right behind him.
They're approaching that huge double. There you can see that chalk line. That was for the whole shot. Down that whoop straightaway into the triple. McGrath is moving up, but Kevin Windham is moving out. He is just stretching his lead even more.
Well, now, even though McGrath is quite a ways behind our leaders, the 2nd and 3rd points leaders aren't anywhere in sight either.
No, McGrath, in terms of the points, is looking good. The only rider that's really making up any points on him is Pichon and Larry Ward right now. They're just right ahead of him.
Jeremy's up to 7th, while LaRocco is in 14th. LaRocco 2nd in the points in the 250s.
Watch Kevin. Just perfect, smooth power delivery. You see how he sits down on the face of that jump. He'll sit down again right here as he accelerates. Gets a lot more traction. You see Pichon standing up.
58.3 for Windham, David.
Yeah, they've cranked it up a notch. They've been just under a minute.
John Dowd, Mikel Pichon. That'll be a battle for 2nd as LaRocco still in 14th and Lusk is in 12th.
Now Lusk is having a really tough time trying to get through the pack.
There's your top 5 on the screen right now.
2 laps ago, McGrath was in 11th, just ahead of Lusk, and he's been able to pick off all these riders. Lusk is still stuck in the pack. He's gotten around his teammate Tortelli, but I'm surprised with Dowd. It's unbelievable. The guy comes in here just feeling terrible, and he's still holding off Pichon. Carmichael makes a mistake, launches the bike just behind these guys. Pichon takes advantage of...
Carmichael went down. So Carmichael's out of the picture right now. You see him just restarting and getting back on the track.
What happened, Art, was he came into the corner, he squared it, and he squared it so tight he ran into a tough box. And then he was trying to get going, and the bike just took out from underneath him. He just stood there in shock, like, what did I do wrong?
More bad luck for RC. Here's Mikel Pichon, now in 2nd place. So it's Pichon in 2nd, Dowd in 3rd, Ward in 4th, and McGrath has moved into the top 5 with Tim Ferry and Albertine behind him.
At this point in the race, Art, I think this is the biggest lead we've seen all year. Kevin is gone. He can crash and get up and still be in the lead.
Carmichael trying to recover from one of the worst days of his career last week in Atlanta.
Now, I think he puts a lot of pressure on himself. He's been the man in his whole career. And now he's just another one of the boys.
Kevin Windham.
Oh, Carmichael goes down hard. A tough box got knocked in front of him. There you see, he landed up on top of a plateau, and there was a tough box right there. There was nothing he could do about it. It actually spun in front of him while he was in the air. And he landed on his side on the face of this next jump.
So Ricky Carmichael, who started this year with people thinking he might be a contender in his rookie season in 250s, like Jeremy McGrath was back in 1993, has fallen on hard times. Right now, Kevin Windham, number 14, is looking for his 2nd win of the season. Will he hold on? Will he make a mistake? Can Jeremy McGrath catch up? All those questions to be answered when we come back. Welcome back to Texas Stadium in Irving, Texas. Our 250 main event. This is the halfway point of the season, and all of a sudden Kevin Windham has decided, hey, I'm where I belong, out front.
Well, I think last week was just unfortunate that he got a bad start. Kind of got hung up in the pack, but he was riding well. And he just wants to come back and prove that Tampa was what Kevin Windham is all about. You can see he's wheeling over one bump through that whoop section there that's sending everybody up in the air. So he's able to keep his forward momentum a lot better and still pulling away from the pack. That last lap was a 57, so he's even cranked it up another notch.
How did Ricky Carmichael get into trouble? Well, he went down for the 2nd time and is probably thinking, that black cloud is still over my head here at Texas Stadium.
And that was an accident. That obviously The first time, from what I could see, it looked like he was trying to do something a little bit extra. But the second time, one of those hay bale tough boxes got knocked out right in front of him. Bad luck.
Kevin Windham won here on the 125s back in 1997. As we take a look at Mikel Pichon currently in second. Neither Windham nor Pichon have won here in Dallas before. That would just add to the tradition of the fact that we said earlier that in 19 previous races, we've had 14 different winners, one of which was our own David Bailey.
And Dowd still back behind Pichon here. Pichon doesn't seem to be able to carve into that lead of Windham, but he is pulling away slightly from this battle. Here you see McGrath starting to close in on Larry Ward, but not as fast as I thought he would.
That's the battle for fourth. With Dowd in third, Ward in fourth, and McGrath in fifth. Ferry has dropped back of McGrath and is not pressuring him in the sixth spot, but that would be his best finish if he can hold off Albertine.
Ward has had some great rides here in Dallas. Putting in another one right now. Even if Jeremy gets around him, he's still in fourth. Well, that would drop him.
Well, he's probably had more races than any other rider has ever had.
LaRocco has problems.
LaRocco going down, tangled up with another rider on the far side.
With the same section. Oh, he's tangled with Lusk.
Ezra Lusk? Yes.
He doesn't
and
even
Lusk
know.
Can't find his bike.
It was the same section where Carmichael had his problems. And there you can see something hanging from Lusk's handlebars. His bike is pretty beat up. I don't know if he's even going to be able to get back out there. I think it's the clutch lever broken off right down here.
So Lusk in 10th and LaRocco in 11th. All of a sudden collide the factory connection Honda and the team Honda. And let's see if Lusk can even finish the race. Boy, what a DNF would be disastrous to the points race for Lusk.
He's not even getting started. He can't put the bike in gear because he's got no clutch lever. He's just stalled it trying to take off.
Windham, Pichon, Dowd, Ward, McGrath, our top five with Ferry and Albee, 6 and 7. There's Larry Ward, number 7, Team Suzuki. You mentioned about Ward. His best, of course, was that hole shot and led 18 of the 20 laps for the victory, his third career victory in Seattle. Dowdy's coming off his best 250 race since he won the 250 victory in Charlotte last year. He took a second last week in Atlanta. And he's trying to hold on for a third and hit that podium again.
As we watch McGrath taking his time, now I can see it's a halfway point. There's Lusk. He is out. The clutch lever is broken off the handlebars. The handlebar is bent down. He can't even get started. So he is going to DNF this race. And what probably McGrath's greatest asset is that he can stay out of trouble. He can get a bad start just like everybody else. He and Lusk were right together in that first lap. But somehow McGrath is able to steer clear of the problems out there and just pad that points lead.
Our leader, Kevin Windham, is about to lap another former Supercross winner and a former champion, Jeff Emig. So it is still Windham and Pichon, 1 and 2. McGrath starting to pick up the action now on Larry Ward. McGrath has never finished out of the top 4 here in Dallas. Jeremy cutting to the inside, but Ward getting a lot of torque going wide. And we've got Dowd, Ward, and McGrath just bang, bang, bang.
You know, Jeremy's goal really each week, even if he gets the whole shot, it's to finish on the podium. If he gets a bad start, finish on the podium. I've talked to Skip Norfolk, and they worked on that a lot. It's consistency. It's when you don't win, it's limiting the damage. I lost the Supercross title to Rick Johnson. I had the same amount of wins, but when I didn't win, I was 4th. When he didn't win, he got 2nd.
Oh, Ward passes Dowdy. Look out. Jeremy McGrath mixed wheels with Dowd.
He came right out of the corner, ran right smack into the back of him.
And here's McGrath trying to take advantage of Dowdy. Dowdy's not willing to give it up, though. John Dowd.
That's where Jeremy's patient. He could have gone in there and made that pass. He would have caused both these guys to have maybe go down.
Doesn't want to end up like Lusk, though.
Yeah, he just shoved John Dowd right off the racetrack. So he just ducked his shoulder, let him jump back ahead of him. He knows there's time left.
They're passing Grayson Goodman, the local favorite from Dallas.
I am so impressed with knowing how bad that John Dowd felt. To come in here and put in a performance like this. Larry Ward, too.
Larry Ward's gunning for his 3rd podium of the season and his 2nd 3rd place finish in a row. It's Wyndham, Pichon, Ward, Dowd, and McGrath are top 5, with Albie behind McGrath quite a ways. Let's go down to Marty Reed.
Well, guys, you were mentioning Larry Ward. Remember, this track is very similar to Tampa in its consistency, and Ward had a terrible night there, but that was because he could not make that one triple jump. One of the things he reminded us today that he didn't really care for our pointing that out to all the viewers at home. But from the standpoint of where he's at right now, he is running the best race on this hard pack that he has all year long.
Oh, and while that was going on, a back and forth battle between Dowd and McGrath. Jeremy taking a few chances there to get by him, David.
Well, it looked like he was.
He was pretty squirrely at one point.
In that battle, he's lost a lot of time now to Larry Ward, so he's got to make up about 2-3 seconds almost to catch back up to Larry Ward, who's currently holding on to that podium spot. And Larry is not that far behind Pichon, who seemed to be running all alone in 2nd. That's not, I don't think that's in the books just yet.
McGrath, Dowd, Albie, 4th, 5th, and 6th.
That section leading up to the main groove, leading up to the triple there, just looks like a streak. All this hard pack has been packed down even more. All the loose stuff is off the top. It's a blue groove.
A 10-second lead for Wyndham over Pichon. 5 seconds back to Ward, and a similar 5 seconds back to Jeremy McGrath. Let's go trackside.
Down here with Randy Lawrence, Jeremy McGrath's mechanic. He's in 4th place. We're running out of laps. You're telling him to breathe, but he's got to hustle.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get him to breathe so his arms don't pump up or something like that. He was right on Larry. Larry ended up getting by Dowd first, and Jeremy ran into Dowd and lost a little bit of time. So just needed him to breathe and relax, and maybe he can catch back up.
Do you think he realizes that both Ezra and Mike LaRocco were down and are way back behind him?
I don't know. They were sitting on the track when he went by. I'm not sure if he saw the numbers or not. So at this point, I don't know if he knows or not.
Doesn't make any difference, guys. He's trying to catch 3rd.
Well, Randy could signal him that if he wanted to, but I don't think it's that important. That just wrecks your concentration. Just have Jeremy go out and do what he's done all season long. It doesn't matter what everybody else does.
Yeah, it's not a matter of a win. It's a matter of saving your points and not giving him right back.
This is going to be one of those races for Kevin. It's just so boring. He's going to be like, where was everybody and why was this so easy? The same thing happened to Jeremy last week. He got the whole shot, and other than a little bit of pressure from Ward early on, it was an easy race, and it was a huge battle behind him for everybody scrapping, riders going down, carrying bruises around all week, while Jeremy's just going, wow, I don't see what the problem was. It's going to be one of those nights for Kevin Wyndham.
Lee McCullough concerned about his rider, Larry Ward, right now.
That's because he is losing time pretty fast to Jeremy right now.
Number 1 right behind him now.
I think if I was Larry Ward, I would do all that I could to try to go with Jeremy. Let that pressure elevate his pace a little bit, and hopefully that'll carry him up to Pichon. So even if McGrath makes a pass, he can maybe make a pass on Pichon and still hold on to a podium spot.
Larry Ward started the year off in Anaheim with an 18th. And he said goodbye to such a poor finish with an 8th, a 6th, and then his 3rd career win in Seattle. A 5th, a 9th, and a 3rd then in Atlanta in the last race. That consistency after the 18th start has put him in the top 5 in points once again.
Now he's going to get a big boost here tonight with the problems of Morocco and Ezra Lusk. They're only going to score 2 or 3 points at best. What a major blow to Team Honda trying to regain the Supercross title. Good night for Kevin, but they probably deep down are hoping that was Ezra Lusk out there getting all those points back on Jeremy.
Here's the battle for 2nd now that's starting to form up as Larry Ward has been making some time on Mikel Pichon. And Jeremy McGrath is very confident, patient, settling in behind Ward.
You know, the presence of McGrath can change the shape of this whole race, and it just has. It has forced Larry Ward to get aggressive, put pressure on Pichon. Now McGrath can take advantage of these guys. three-way battle now for second.
A tight three-way battle. I suspect when we come out of this corner. We've got 5 laps to go in the 20-lap race.
I've talked about this before. This is what's happened to Pichon. He got out there in second, was all by himself. Figured, oh, this must be a good pace. Nobody's catching me. All of a sudden, McGrath shows up, pushes Ward. The pace picks up. Now Pichon has to adjust to that. Some guys can do it, some can't. We'll find out if he can.
Pichon has won a 125 race here in Dallas, but he was 13th in his only 250 race here last year. He's been an improved rider since joining Team Honda. There's no question about that. Here comes Jeremy McGrath making a move on Larry Ward. Ward with good positioning now.
Yeah, that's just good sportsmanship right there. Larry Ward had every opportunity to just park Jeremy out there in the tough boxes, and Jeremy was just on the brakes right there, trying to stay on the racetrack, going, please leave me some room, and he did. That's just respect.
Mike Kudrowski didn't give Jeremy any room here in the last lap in Dallas, Texas. As their bikes went flying, Jeremy did a helicopter in the air, and Mike LaRocco would win that race.
It's not enjoyable to be in a battle with guys that you can't really trust. You can trust all these 3 guys right here. They know that you make a little mistake out there and don't give a rider next to you a little bit of room, he could end up injured.
Kevin Windham is light years away as the laps keep ticking off.
As they go down the straightaway, they can see Kevin going the other way.
Here's Larry Ward to the inside. He gets a nice clean block pass. But look it out. McGrath is on the outside. The crowd comes alive. Here comes Pichon boxing out McGrath. And Larry Ward gets a big boost out of that. John Dowd now bar to bar with Jeremy.
And John Dowd all of a sudden back in this picture.
Final lap. Sorry, David.
I can't believe John Dowd just snuck right back in there.
I'll tell you, he's got to be exhausted after this race. 102 temperature yesterday.
It's just so much fun, though, to be in the race.
How many times in any sport have you seen a player have the flu or something come out in an NBA game with a magnificent performance?
You ride more relaxed. You don't have as much pressure on yourself.
McGrath battling with Pichon. This is for third. This is for the podium. McGrath very aggressive in his moves now.
Well, this is where Pichon lost all of his time before. He jumps into the corner, gets a little bit of room on Jeremy.
Jeremy's taking the inside line through those whoops. There's Kevin Windham. Kevin Windham. The checkered flag. And for Windham, as we watch the battle behind him, what a race. It's too bad we didn't have more time to talk about the brilliant performance of Kevin Windham.
Well, right behind Kevin, Jeremy and Pichon were having words. I don't think Jeremy appreciated that little block pass, extra block that Pichon put on him, but it worked.
And Larry Ward improves his performance of last week, staying on the podium, but this time in second place. For Kevin Windham, his second win of the year, his 5th career victory. A tremendous win for number 14 of Team Honda. We'll be back as Jeremy and Kevin talk to each other and congratulate each other right after these words.